Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Peace, family. This is your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School. Every night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel, we hold Night School, where we break down the most controversial topics, the most engaged debates, the most interesting subjects in the world today. And tonight is no different. Let us get right to it. So many things going on in the world and stuff that I really want to make sure we cover. I think those of us in the United States have been watching footage nonstop for the last few hours of Senator Padilla in California, and it's frankly been appalling to see. They slammed a sitting U.S. senator to the ground like he was trespassing because he asked questions. California Senator Alex Padilla got handcuffed and dragged out of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's press conference. This is out in LA, Los Angeles, after he tried to speak up about immigration raids that were ripping through his state. Now, the video is wild. I'll let y'all see it in other places. I don't actually want to show it. I just don't have the bandwidth for it today emotionally. But the video is wild. A Secret Service agent grabs Padilla's jacket and throws him out like a protester. He's later seen on his knees screaming, "Hands off," before officers pin him down. And yes, he said who he was multiple times. That's worth mentioning and explaining, because sometimes people don't say who they are, and later on they say, well, if you had just told me you were a senator, blah, 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 blah. If you had told me you were important, da, 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 da. He said who he was. They ain't care. Noem had just called LA a socialist city that needs to be, quote unquote, liberated before Padilla stepped in. She says he was being disruptive. DHS, Homeland Security, said they thought he was a threat. The White House says he wanted attention. The Democrats, they say this is bigger than Padilla, and they're calling all of this an abuse of power and a sign that Trump's team is going full fascist. Senator Schumer said watching the video made him sick. Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, along with Chuck Schumer, said it looks like a police state. Kamala Harris said Padilla was doing what senators are supposed to do, get answers. Padilla says if this is how they treat him, imagine how they're treating the farmers, the cooks, the everyday folks who are caught up in these raids. This is what it looks like when the government stops respecting checks and balances. This wasn't a protester. This wasn't even a heckler. It was a senator doing their job, and they put him in cuffs. And that's a reminder. Again, I'm not outraged because it's happened to a senator. I'm outraged because it's happened to a human being. The fact that they won't even pretend to be different for senators means they are actually at a point where all bets are off. This Trump regime is more and more repressive every day. It's more and more violent every day. It's more and more indifferent to the Constitution and basic human decency than ever before. And that's what we're going to keep a track of. Lawmakers want investigation. Some people are angry and want Noem to resign. Other people want Padilla, who's now back in D.C., to keep fighting and to not back down. I think we're going to see all those. Well, we ain't going to see Noem resign. But we're going to see all those things at some level. This is awful, and there's no other way to explain it. Another story coming out of the Middle East is Israel bombs Iran. We're going to get to that in just a second. We're going to take 10 seconds, and we'll be right back.
Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
All right. Booms in the night northeast of Tehran, and the world just got a little closer to being on edge. Actually, the world got a little closer to being on the edge. Explosions were reported in Iran early Friday morning. U.S. officials say Israel is behind that strike. And while Tel Aviv hasn't confirmed it yet, their Air Force is certainly moving like it did. Iran's state media says blast hit near the capital, and multiple sources told Axios and Reuters that this wasn't an accident at all. This was a hit. What sparked it, you might ask? Well, Israel's been threatening a response since Iran launched that massive drone and missile barrage last week. Now it looks like they've made good on it. But here's the kicker. The U.S. says they had nothing to do with this move. Right after the strike, Israel activated emergency rules at home. That means the schools are closed. The gatherings are banned. Only essential workers can be out. They're on high alert for whatever comes next. We don't have much more detail, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time speculating and conjecturing, but I will say if this war gets bigger, we're going to see U.S. troops, oil prices, global markets, national security. It's all going to get dragged in and undermined quickly. So we need to think of something. All right, family. We got one last story before we go, and you'll be shocked to know it's about Diddy. In Diddy's federal sex trafficking trial, a woman known only as Jane dropped serious testimony, and things got really uncomfortable in the courtroom. She told the jury that she ended up in a Las Vegas hotel with a top rapper, someone famous, powerful, close to Diddy, where she says a sex worker performed in front of a crowd. Jane says she was flashed, pressured, and surrounded by men with money, power, and expectations. She called these moments hotel nights. Prosecutors don't call them hotel nights. They call it human trafficking, sex trafficking. Anyway, here's the twist. The public didn't get to hear most of it. The judge held long meetings behind closed doors. Diddy himself was not even in those meetings. He was left outside. The name of the rapper Jane flew out. The name of the rapper Jane flew out with is still secret, although I know who it was. And there are people who will tell you who it was, but I know who it was. But if it ain't official, I ain't saying it. The courtroom screens showing exhibits, they were turned off. Documents about the case, they were sealed. Even a possible move to remove a black juror has been hidden from view. Jane's lawyers say she's being silenced to protect the powerful, but her words in court made it clear that she didn't want this life. If a woman brave enough to face one of the biggest names in music can't even get a fair, open court hearing, what hope does any survivor have? I guess my point is, and the judge will rule Friday on whether to boot the black juror, but my point is, you got heavily connected, powerful people still being intimidated, still being silenced, still being judged. This is a sign of how difficult it is for survivors to come forward. If Jane Doe can't do it, what do you think the average Joe can do? This is the problem. Again, we're going to get a lot more scandalous, a lot more scurrilous information from the Diddy trial next week. Friday will probably be not a super big deal, but I promise you next Monday and Tuesday, you're going to see at least one and maybe two of the biggest rappers in the world implicated even more. One of them you might even see show up to the court hearing. You'll see. Anyway, we're going to continue to cover it every day. We're going to continue to tell the truth about what's happening, and we're going to continue to fight for freedom. Anyway, family, I know it's a short tonight, but I got a long day, and I don't feel great, and my back is still killing me. And today's been insane. So we're going to call it a night, but hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you're so inclined, hit that join button and become a monthly subscriber to the channel. Also, family, feel free, if you don't want to make a monthly commitment, to go right here, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle, and drop something in at Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. What we love is if everybody watching right now were to donate $5. Not 500, not 5 a week, not 5, just $5, maybe for the month. Go to Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle, and drop $5 in. If everybody watching were to donate $5, we would be able to meet our staffing goals for the month. So please consider it, family. Anyway, I'm going to let y'all be, let y'all live. I love y'all, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.